say no. Now I do. Really excited to be here at Cosm LA here on Speak today. And excited to get started, but we do have some bad news to start the show with. It's fun to argue about, it's fun to talk about what you would do in this scenario, or would you leave the game if the seats were high, or if a man took you this place on a first date, what you would do. So I'll never be in another public relationship. I was in multiple public relationships. That's not how I can.
You're not on that.
But
No.
never though, Joy?
No, I can't.
Never?
So there's a difference between a private relationship and a public relationship.
So what happens when one of the biggest sports networks in the world gets hit with a shocking allegation? A new lawsuit is exposing a toxic culture at Fox Sports, and the details are enough to leave you speechless. From claims of harassment to accusations of harm and retaliation, this case is pulling back the curtain on some of the network's biggest names, including Joy Taylor. But that's not all, because the leaked tape that's been making headlines has added another layer to this explosive story. Let's get into it, because this one is a wild one. Alright y'all, we've got to dive into this lawsuit because the details are seriously jaw-dropping. Noushin Faraji, a hairstylist known to work at Fox Sports for over a decade, has filed a class action lawsuit that exposes what she says was a toxic and workplace. According to her, Fox Sports wasn't just a challenging environment, it was a nightmare.
A lot to unpack this week at Fox Sports as the network was hit with a lawsuit from a former hairdresser based in their Los Angeles studios. The lawsuit implicates not only Skip Bayless, but also Joy Taylor, Emmanuel Acho, and an executive at the company, and none of it is good.
But Faraji claims she endured years of harassment and mistreatment, describing a workplace culture that was misogynistic, racist, and ableist. In the lawsuit, she says that the executives on air talent were allowed to get away with outrageous behavior. And here's where it gets even worse. She alleges that when employees like her tried to speak up, they were retaliated against. Instead of fixing the issues, Fox allegedly promoted the very people responsible for the toxic environment. But that's not all. This isn't just about a bad workplace, because Faraji is also accusing the network of some serious misconduct, including physical and verbal harm. And it's not just random people being named. We're talking big names like Skip Bayless, Charlie Dixon, and even Joy Taylor. They're listed in this suit, and this alone has the sports world buzzing. But let's talk about one of the biggest claims against Skip Bayless, because this one is a bombshell. According to Noushin Faraji, she started cutting Bayless's hair weekly for his show. At first, their conversations were casual, focused on harmless topics like work and life. But things quickly took a turn, and Faraji claims that Bayless began making unwanted advances towards her.
Zeke waves out. Take me out, coach.
Oh, we ain't gonna talk about this.
Take me out. It's my turn. It is. You told me it was my turn.
You can talk all that you want to, yell and scream, you lost.
It is my turn.
You lost the game.
It's my turn.
The suit alleges that Bayless found excuses to touch Faraji during these appointments. He would give her lingering hugs after haircuts, pressing his body against hers and even brushing against her breast. It didn't stop there. Bayless allegedly began kissing her on the cheek, making her increasingly uncomfortable. And Faraji says she tried to avoid further contact by making excuses to leave as soon as the haircuts were done, often citing her responsibilities as a mother or other obligations, but Bayless didn't seem to take the hint. According to Faraji, he even made inappropriate comments about her body, calling her voluptuous.
Everything is a feminized conversation because we have injected vaginas into every conversation.
Well, the situation became even harder for Faraji to handle because of her limited English skills, which she says sometimes led to misunderstandings or made it difficult to speak up. But feeling trapped, she confided in a co-worker about Bayless's behavior. However, instead of finding a solution, she was advised to stay silent. The co-worker allegedly told her that Bayless was too powerful at the network and that reporting his actions would likely be ignored. This advice reflects a reoccurring theme in the lawsuit. Faraji and others felt that Fox Sports prioritized protecting its high-profile employees over addressing misconduct.
Y'all keep asking me to talk about this Joy thing. Baby, I have two things to say. First of all, y'all was tagging ESPN and Fox like, oh, listen to Amber, you hire her, baby, I don't got what it takes. Because I'm not sleeping with nobody for no job.
And in July 2021, Faraji revealed her cancer diagnosis, hoping it might put an end to Bayless's advances, but instead of backing off, Bayless allegedly continued to pursue her. According to the lawsuit, he told her outright that he wanted to be with her, and Faraji says she panicked, reminding him that there were cameras everywhere and reiterating that she didn't want anything to do with him. But that's not all. Bayless allegedly escalated things even further by grabbing her hands, kissing them, and offering her $1.5 million to have X with him. Shocked and terrified, Faraji made an excuse to leave the room.
On ESPN. But now a new lawsuit has been filed against Skip, alleging that he offered a Fox hairstylist $1.5 million to have fun with him.
Well, despite her repeated efforts to distance herself, Faraji claims that Bayless's advances continued until he left undisputed in 2024. And these allegations painted a disturbing picture of someone using their power and influence to pressure a colleague into an unwanted relationship. And this lawsuit isn't just pointing fingers at individuals, it's taking aim at the entire culture at Fox Sports. And Faraji claims that for years the workplace was a hotbed of mistreatment and misconduct. She describes a system where employees weren't just ignored when they spoke up, they were actively punished. According to the lawsuit, people like Faraji faced retaliation after reporting harassment or mistreatment. Meanwhile, those responsible for the bad behavior, they were allegedly rewarded. Promotions, pay raises, more power. It's like the system was rigged to protect the wrong people.
I really enjoy villains. I like villains. I like villains more than most.
And to make matters even worse, Faraji isn't just talking about her harassment, she's also accusing the network of violating wage laws. She claims that Fox failed to pay minimum wages, overtime, and other benefits that employees were owed. It's like every corner of this workplace was built to exploit its staff. Well, Fox Sports has responded to the lawsuit, saying that they take allegations like this very seriously. But for many, that statement feels like it's just scratching the surface. The network is under fire, and this lawsuit could end up being the tip of the iceberg. Now, this is where things take an even darker turn, though, because according to the lawsuit, Charlie Dixon, the executive vice president of the content at Fox Sports, is being accused himself of inappropriate behavior that left Noushin Faraji feeling humiliated and powerless. The suit details a specific incident at a birthday party for Joy Taylor in West Hollywood back in January 2017. Faraji alleges that Dixon approached her and began touching her inappropriately. She claims that she initially tried to defuse the situation by saying, "No, thank you." But Dixon didn't stop. Instead, he allegedly moved his hand lower, rubbing her body and grabbing her butt. Faraji says she was mortified by the encounter and quickly faked an incoming call to escape. Just imagine being in this situation, cornered by someone with so much power over your career and knowing that saying no might not be enough to protect you. Well, after the incident, Faraji says she confided in Joy Taylor, whom she described as a friend, but instead of support, Taylor allegedly told her to get over it, emphasizing that they both had their jobs because of Dixon. And Taylor reportedly added that his influence was so great that he could take their positions away if they caused any trouble.
But the hairdresser put in a lawsuit along with some information that said they were at a party and she got hit on the butt, and I do believe it was by Skip Bayless, and Joy Taylor allegedly told her to get over it.
And this part of the story is particularly heartbreaking. Faraji turned to someone she thought she trusted, hoping for understanding, only to be met with a dismissive response. It's a reminder of how power dynamics in toxic workplaces can make even allies feel pressured to stay silent or look the other way. Well, Faraji also confided in another anonymous friend after the incident. According to the suit, this friend wasn't surprised by Dixon's behavior, calling him disgusting and blaming the toxic culture at Fox Sports. But instead of advising Faraji to report the incident, the friend warned her to stay quiet if she wanted to keep her job and continue supporting her son.
Things are very non-negotiable for me. I went through a very serious stretch of therapy where I knew that the main thing that I was going to focus on healing was my complete inability to enforce boundaries.
And to make matters even worse, the allegations didn't stop there. In 2023, an anonymous television host told Faraji that her contract with Fox wouldn't be renewed unless she slept with Dixon. The host also claimed that Dixon had made similar demands to other women at the network, suggesting a pattern of behavior that had gone unchecked for years. But Faraji's lawsuit accuses Fox of failing to investigate not just her situation, but also other allegations of Dixon using his position to coerce women. According to the complaint, Fox either knew or should have known about Dixon's behavior but chose not to intervene. But as Fox knew or should have known about Mr. Dixon's willingness and propensity to use his position to harass women, Fox is liable for the materialization of that particular harm, the suit read. Well, accusations paint a picture of a workplace where these in power were allowed to misuse their positions without fear of consequences, while employees like Faraji were left to navigate the fallout on their own. Well, now let's talk about the accusations against Joy Taylor, because this part of the lawsuit is as messy as it gets. According to the complaint, Taylor allegedly had an ex-relationship with Charlie Dixon, the Fox Sports executive named in the suit, to secure her spot on Undisputed. And here's where it gets even more complicated. Both Taylor and Dixon were reportedly married at the time of their alleged affair.
And I'm a very public person and I share a lot about myself, but my private, personal life to me is something that's really sacred.
Sure.
And so my official answer is always.
But that's not all, because Faraji, who worked closely with Taylor, claims that their friendship eventually soured. After their falling out, Taylor allegedly mocked Faraji's Persian accent and how she pronounced her name. Imagine going to work every single day, already dealing with the pressure of a toxic environment, and then being mocked by someone you once considered a friend. It's not just unprofessional, it's cruel. And it didn't stop there, because the lawsuit also accuses Taylor of using her ex Shirley to advance her career further. In 2020, when Taylor reportedly wanted a position at Speak for Yourself, a show featuring former NFL player Emmanuel Acho, she allegedly became involved with both Dixon and Acho at the same time. Faraji says she was alarmed when she learned about this and even tried to warn Taylor about the risks. According to the complaint, Faraji cautioned her that Dixon was a powerful man who might not take lightly if he found out that she was also involved with someone else at the network. But instead of taking the warnings seriously, Taylor allegedly brushed it off.
Do you all realize how hard it is to get into the position that she is in? So often there's misogyny and sexism running rampant in sports, and we don't even care what women have to say in sports. But Joy is not only in the position on television as a woman, as a black woman, but as an opinionist.
Now here's where things take a very ironic turn, because long before these allegations came to light, Joy Taylor had publicly shared her thoughts on what she looks for in a man. And let's just say it doesn't exactly line up with her alleged behavior.
How would I not know how hard it is to do the show I work on? You have to constantly reaffirm that you are good enough, that you belong there, and then always prove it. So I would just always say you gotta do twice the work to get half the opportunity.
On an episode of the Too Personal show last March, Taylor explained that her ideal partner must have healthy, non-romantic relationships with other women, and she emphasized the importance of a man seeing value in women beyond just family or romantic interest. I don't want to date a man who only gets input from other men and who has all women in two categories, your mother or someone you want to sleep with. Well, Taylor said during this episode, you have to have a broader spectrum on women and their value in your life if you're going to be with me. Sounds reasonable, right? But here's the kicker. Less than a year later, Taylor was named in a lawsuit accusing her of sleeping with multiple colleagues at Fox Sports, allegedly trying to advance her career. Well, during a lunchtime meeting in Beverly Hills in February 2020, Faraji says she noticed Taylor and Acho's romantic chemistry firsthand. Later, she asked Taylor if Acho worked at Fox. Taylor reportedly confirmed their relationship and explained that she was counting on him to recommend her for Speak for Yourself. Think about that for a moment. Taylor, who spoke passionately about valuing women for more than their romantic roles, allegedly engaged in relationships that, at least from Faraji's perspective, were calculated moves to climb the corporate ladder. It's one thing to set a public standard for what you expect in a partner, but it's another to fail to uphold those same standards in your professional life. The allegations against Taylor make her statements about relationships feel, well, a little bit hollow. And here's where the drama really escalates. Faraji claims that Taylor dismissed her concerns, saying that she wasn't worried because she was now powerful in her own right. According to the lawsuit, Taylor even revealed a plan to accuse Dixon of forcing himself on her, once he was no longer useful to her career. And if this statement is true, not only does this expose the toxic power plays within Fox Sports, but it also raises questions about the ethical boundaries Taylor may have crossed.
Allegations are true, then Joy Taylor is a piece of shit. Forget Skip Bayless spending $1.5 million for Fox. We don't even believe that. But this Joy Taylor situation where she slept her way to the top.
Well, after days of silence following this bombshell of a lawsuit, Joy Taylor has finally resurfaced on social media. She posted for the first time since being named a defendant in Noushin Faraji's lawsuit. That's not all. The timing of her return has raised some eyebrows, with many wondering if this move is an attempt to show that she's unbothered, or if it's a calculated distraction from an ongoing legal drama.
I have returned. If I have a bag and you see me trying to work at 73, come talk to me because there's something very wrong. I'm going through something.
Well, Taylor took to Instagram to share a series of vibrant posts that seemed to protect her confidence and normalcy. Wearing a bold violet sweater and purple pants, she appeared alongside co-hosts Paul Pierce, Keyshawn Johnson, and Michael Irving at Cosm, Los Angeles. The post included videos of the group exploring the space, laughing and appearing carefree. However, some fans couldn't help but feel like this was an attempt to divert attention. After all, the allegations against her are very serious, and her silence up until now suggested that she might be feeling the pressure. But to make matters even more interesting, her reappearance coincided with her regularly scheduled appearance on The Speak. While Taylor seemed at ease on the show, Emmanuel Acho, also named in the lawsuit, was noticeably absent, leaving fans to speculate about what's really going on behind the scenes.
You go give us 30, Paul?
I can do about 15. 15 what, push-up?
Well, Taylor's return to work could have easily been seen as a way to reclaim control of her narrative, but by showing up alongside her co-host and continuing with her usual routine, she's sending a message, though, that she's not letting the allegations slow her down. But to make things even worse, the absence of Acho from that same show raised even more questions. Is he keeping a low profile to avoid the heat, or is there tension brewing between them now that the lawsuit has exposed their alleged relationship? But the timing of her social media comeback feels strategic. While her posts and show appearances project confidence, they don't erase the fact that these allegations are still very much hanging over her head. Well, Taylor and Acho now find themselves in a delicate position, especially since the lawsuit paints them as intertwined in more ways than one. While Taylor's decision to post again and return to work might seem like a move to normalize her presence, it's hard not to see it as damage control. And to make things even more complicated, her upbeat Instagram post could be viewed as tone deaf, considering the serious nature of the claims against her. But for someone whose career thrives on public perception, this might be her way of showing the world that she's still standing no matter what. But y'all, this story is wild, and it leaves us with a whole lot to think about. Do you believe Joy Taylor's return to social media is her way of showing confidence, or is this just damage control? And what do you think about this lawsuit? Will it affect her career and reputation of Fox Sports as a whole? And most importantly, with all these allegations swirling around, is there more to this story that hasn't come out yet? Drop your thoughts in comments below, because we know you have some strong opinions on this one. And don't forget to smash that like button and hit subscribe so you don't miss any more updates. And check out the next video on your end screen, because trust me, there's more where this came from and you don't want to miss it.